First graders, we are continuing now with how addition and subtraction kind of weave back and forth together. And you guys already know this sort of in the back of your mind, right? 1 plus 1 is 2, and there's addition. But then we can also say 2 minus 1 is 1. There's subtraction, but we're still working with the same amounts, aren't we? So you kind of already know this. But just like if you're going to drive a car in the real world, you don't just do a quick lesson on driving a car and then you go drive a car, right? You practice that a lot and you learn lots of things about it so that when you do it, you really can do it easily when you need to. So the same thing with math, even though you kind of know that already, we need to practice it a lot so that when it comes time to use it in the real world, we're really ready to do that. So today's lesson is continuing that. All right. We have here lesson 5.2, record related facts. Now, it's saying to use cubes. You don't have them, so pause the video if your counters are not quick and handy and go get your counters. We're going to use those instead. So here's the problem. And if you guys want to, you can look down at the very bottom of the page here where it says for the teacher. That's where all this stuff comes from. And it says for the teacher, read the following problem. Here it is. For the left box. So over here in this box, we're doing this. Colin has 7 crackers. He gets 1 more cracker. How many crackers does Colin have now? So we actually can do this with drawings. It's going to be helpful to use the counters just because it's going to reinforce the fact that we're working with the same amounts in both problems. So here are 7 crackers. I guess they're tomato flavored. And then he gets another cracker, and I guess this one is plain, right? So how many does he have? So we can do a quick drawing for this, right? And we can add our colors just to make sure that it's really clear what's going on. And remember, we don't have to color it super well. We're just getting a little touch of color in there so that our work here is recorded here, and we can use this to help solve the problem. So what number sentence will we write? Well, you guys, that's pretty easy, right? 7 crackers, and he got 1 more, and now he has 8. So over here now, in the right box, Colin has 8 crackers. So let's go ahead and make them be all the same color because we use the 2 different colors to help us think about what amounts we're putting together or taking apart. And since we're starting with 8, we're going to have them all together the same way. Now we're making some changes. He gives 1 to Jacob, so now we're going to flip that 1. And can you see, this is the same thing that we had over here. But over here we had this and added 1 more. And here now, because we're thinking about 8 and separating it, we start with them all the same way and change 1. Either way, though, what we're drawing is the same, isn't it? Because we're still looking at the same amounts. We're looking at 8 altogether, 7 in one group, and 1 in the other group. Down here we can, well, let's do our drawing first, just to make sure we have really good habits. It's easy to just start leaving those drawings off to the side and thinking they're not very important. But just like actually doing things with counters, really making these drawings is helpful. Pause the video if you need to catch up with me in your drawing. Now we said he had 8 crackers. He gave 1 away to Jacob, and now he has 5, 6, 7 left. All right. Turn over. Now here you can see, this is one of the handy things of doing this with cubes, is it really helps to set in our brain how these things are working. So if we had everybody having 2 different colored 10 sticks, we would be doing this. Take a look at how this might work with this. With the 4 being made of 3 and 1, we can say 4 is 1 plus 3. We can say 4 is 3 plus 1, just like here. 9 is 4 plus 5, and then down here 9 is 5 plus 4. Do you see how those are switched? 5 first here and second here, 4 is first here and second here. And then over here we could also say 4 minus 1 is 3, or we can say 4 minus 3 is 1. They do that here too. 9 altogether minus the 5 is 4. Down here, 9 altogether minus the 4 is 5. So cubes are really a great way to see this, but since we don't have that, we are going to use our trusty counters. They're not quite as good, but they're really still going to help us do a lot of visualizing. So I'm going to pick mine up here, put them onto this page. 8 plus blank is 15. You guys, just like up here, they had 4 number sentences, and do you see they all use the same 3 numbers? We're going to be doing that here too. Now, another thing you could do if you wanted is a picture, but let's go ahead and start with the counters. And we're going to have 8 all one color, right? And then the others are going to be all the other color up to 15. So 15 is this 10 frame and 5 more, right? So here we go. 8 plus, how many? 5, 6, 7, right? Is 15. Do you see here it's just switched? 7 plus 8, of course, will then be 15. 15 minus 7, well, we already looked at this, right? Here's our 7. What's left? 8. Now take a look here. What other subtraction sentence could we write? Well, we know we have to start with 15, right? Because that's how many it is altogether. And when we do subtraction, we talk about how many altogether first. Now we've already taken away 7. So we're not going to take away 7 this time. We're going to take away the other amount. And what is it? It's this 8 right up here. And then what's left is 7. So now we're just going to take one counter off because we're going down to 14. But instead of 8 as one set, we want 9 as one set. All right, so 9 plus how many more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down here you can see it's the same thing, just switched around. We already have worked with switch around facts, haven't we? 5 plus 9 is 14, so 9 plus 5, 14. 14 minus what would leave 5? Well, here's my 5. What are these red ones that I take away? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I really hope you guys have your brains turned on to do this as I'm doing it, because on the next page, you're going to be working on it on your own. So now we have another subtraction one. So we're going to start with how many altogether, which is this 14, right? Now we took away 9 already once. So now we're going to take away this other amount. Minus 5 leaves how many? All right, take off one more counter, really turn your brain on because the next page you guys are going to work on this on your own. Now, 7 is what we want for one group. So 5, 6, 7, and the rest of these are going to be our yellow ones. 7 plus what makes 13? So here's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm not going to push my paper up too much so you can see them all. Take a look at counters. Take a look at what's down here. So take a look right below that. 6 plus 7, what's that going to be? You guys can know that and write that down. 13, that's this all together, minus 6. Well, the yellow ones are the 6, right? If we cover up the yellow ones, how many are there? Go ahead and write that number down. Then again, here we're doing subtraction on this last one, which means we're going to start with our number all together. We already did this, take away 6. So what's our other number to take away? Now, if we take away 7, that's going to leave us these 6, right? Take a look at the next page. You can see the next page is more of this same kind of work. Now, if you think you know how to do it without needing counters, you can do it without using counters. If you want to use the counters, boys and girls, let me remind you that sometimes people think needing to use drawings or needing to use tools means you're not very good at math. But we know from science, people who've actually studied this, they've found out that often the people who are always using the counters or always using the cubes or they're always drawing pictures of it, these are the people who are actually thinking more deeply. And in the end, they end up being better at math. So if you don't need these, then that's okay. You might look at this and just know it automatically really well. But if you need these, don't let that make you feel like you're not very good at this. If you need the counters or if you need to make a drawing, it may just mean your brain is thinking about it more. All right, guys, hot problem. Take a look down here. Circle the number sentence that has a mistake, right? We've been doing these where we have 4 number sentences that go together with one set of numbers. We call it a fact family. Now, if you haven't finished all the way up to number 6, pause the video and finish all the way up to number 6 and then catch up with us. Let's read these together carefully, and you're going to notice one of them is really obviously wrong. And the way we're going to figure that out is imagine these numbers in a 10 frame. 7, imagine that in a 10 frame, plus 9, imagine that in a 10 frame. Could that be 16? Imagine 16 in a 10 frame, plus 9 more in a 10 frame. And together, that 16 and that 9, could that be 7? Then think 9 plus 7, 16 minus 7. One of these is wrong. Circle it. Now, up here, everyone has 4 number sentences, right? Down here, you also need 4 number sentences. One of these is wrong, so we're going to have to take it out. You're going to figure out the missing one and write it here. I'm going to give you a clue. Did you see here plus, plus, minus, minus? And look up here, plus, plus, minus, minus. You always are going to have 2 addition and 2 subtraction. So when you look here, you see plus, 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 minus. So we're going to know one of these addition sentences is the wrong one. And what we need to write is actually a subtraction sentence. So we're going to have minus here, and we're going to have is the same as right there. Then the other thing is, if we're talking about subtraction, we've said this several times already today, we're going to be talking about the whole, how much is it all together? So what's our biggest number that we're working with over here that could show things all together? Well, it's 16, right? So we're going to have 16 minus something. That's what this is going to be. All right. Last page, choose 3 numbers to make related facts. Choose numbers between 0 and 8. Write your numbers, write the related facts. Now, here's the deal. You cannot make your numbers here be 2 and 3 and 4, because you can't make any true number sentences out of that, can you? 2 plus 3, does that equal 4? No. 4 minus 2, does that equal 3? No. You need to make a set here that makes actual real number facts. So you could do 9 and 3 and 12. You could do 2 and 1 and 3. But it has to be 3 different numbers, so that means no doubles facts, right? We're not going to have 7 and 7 and 14. So you can choose 3 numbers. It doesn't have to be my 3, but it has to be 3 where 2 of them together add up to make the other one. And then you're going to make the 4 number sentences just like you were working with on the last 2 pages. Here we go. And then here are 4 number sentences, and one of them is missing. I bet by now this is not going to be trouble for you guys to figure out which one of these is the other one in the set.